Hey everyone, it's Alex and welcome to this Marvel Snap video from Vacation Station. We rented a cottage in northern Canada here. This is north of Peterborough, Ontario. We're on the water live here to talk about the newly released season pass card Gwenpool and of course Hydra Bob as well. And you know what, I was out here, we played some Twitch Drops games. We streamed for a couple hours from the porch there, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go out here and fish a bit. So I got onto this boat, which I rented because I can't afford, and I was like, you know what, let's actually just chill, sit down and talk about Gwenpool, talk about Hydra Bob, because I think they're actually pretty damn interesting cards. And I was out here and I was like, you know what, I was thinking about Hydra Bob and I was thinking about this popper, and I'm like, you know what, this popper is pretty good, but kind of unnecessary, much like Hydra Bob. And then I switched to something like, the crankbait from Rapala here, and you're not catching anything, just like Hydra Bob isn't really doing that much for you. And I was thinking to myself, at the end of the day, do I actually really need Hydra Bob? Is Hydra Bob answering a question that any of us actually had? And the answer is no, of course not. Hydra Bob is not answering a question that any of us had. Hydra Bob is kind of like a weaker martyr, but I'm selling it a little short. Okay, my actual opinion on Hydra Bob. So I was thinking about like what decks to play him in, and I was like, okay, do I put him in a move deck with Craven? I thought maybe that's a little bit of cope, because like you're gonna move them once at your own volition with a snap, and like snap's a heavy price to pay. So I decided, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put Hydra Bob into a Zoo deck. Zoo decks seem to be doing pretty good right now, and guess what? He was pretty damn solid. Didn't mind him at all. So Hydra Bob overall, I mean, I came away kind of impressed with him, but I wasn't really expecting that much. Definitely feels like in the 2-3 star range. Like, he's probably totally fine, totally fair. Sometimes snapping him into a closed off location was pretty interesting. And it also had this effect of like not allowing your opponent to snap sometimes. But overall, if you want Galactus and you want Nebula and you get Hydra Bob, it's probably fine. But at the end of the day, I don't think you're targeting him. I don't think he's going to shake up the meta or break the meta or anything like that. He's probably just fine, which is kind of an interesting card in and of itself. So Hydra Bob gets a pass from me, but not necessarily one that I think you'd want to ever spend your tokens or your spotlight keys on, right? He's just totally fine. If you end up with him because you wanted Galactus or Nebula, you're not completely upset. He goes okay in some of the Zoo decks. But then again, a lot of these Zoo decks, they run Dazzler, they fill the board up with Shauna. Why would not just run Martyr for the extra 1 power? Because you're almost always filling the board up, right? So he's a little lower risk than Martyr, because obviously Martyr's actively trying to lose you the game, but hey, why not? So anyways, if I can manage, I'll throw a copy of the deck up on the screen. I'll have all the decks in the description down below as well if you want to try. But for me, today was all about chilling. And chill I did with Gwenpool. Now, Gwenpool was kind of interesting. So I was like, you know what? There's no way that Gwenpool is, as bad as some people were suggesting. It's got to be pretty good. 6 power into your hand. You can control generally what's in your hand. Just don't play the cards that you don't want to get hit with Gwenpool. But I kind of came away a little under impressed with Gwenpool. Like, I gave it a 4-star on the Snapchat. She definitely felt like a 3-star card. Like, not bad, but not great either. Some of the synergies I tried to play with, like Nimrod, Destroy, like, it just wasn't worth it. It's always better playing Shuri. Because even with Nimrod, like, it's just adding 2 power to Nimrod doesn't really help that much. Tried to play her in a Black Panther deck, and she was pretty good there. She was honestly pretty good there. Gwenpool was pretty good with the, the Wong and the Odins and stuff like that, and of course Black Panther. But the challenge there was because you don't have Zabu the way Zabu used to be. Gwenpool often felt really awkward to play, which ultimately kind of brought her down in a deck like that with the Black Panther. And I'm sure there's going to be other versions of Black Panther that might really benefit from it, but my current testing wasn't. And then when I tried to say, okay, what about Silver Surfer? What if we add Gwenpool to Silver Surfer? And honestly, it was pretty good. It wasn't that bad, because sometimes you have these awkward turn 4 plays where like you don't even have a Nova and a 3, you're just throwing down a 3 and floating 1 energy anyway. Gwenpool was often hitting cards that like kind of made a difference, because a 3-4 Surfer is pretty significant. Sometimes you had Killmongers at pretty high power as well, especially when you're thinking about you're running Koye, Nakia, and those decks as well. Lots of buffs happening. So I kind of came away okay with Gwenpool and Surfer, although I wonder if the best version of Surfer will never actually ever run Gwenpool. But it surprised me. Like, I'll just say that, it surprised me as a turn 4 play, generally speaking, but it was absolutely awful anywhere else. Like, you're not going to play it on turn 5. You're not going to play it on turn 6 for sure, because it doesn't even get hit with Surfer, and it's a 4-costed card. Unless you played Sarah, but then you're kind of blowing up your whole combo, right? So, Gwenpool, I think, overall kind of underperformed, but was at least interesting enough that I think it needs some more deliberate deck building. Right now, Season Pass is always worth it. Getting the Season Pass is always one of those kind of best value returns in Marvel Snap. So if you're the kind of person that wants to spend a couple bucks on the Season Pass, I think that Gwenpool is absolutely fine. Could it see above? Maybe, but I mean, it's so early. It's the first day. I'm on vacation, man. I was just trying to, play some Marvel Snap. And at the end of the day, it felt like she was just fine. If you want the season pass for all the currency and all the value it generates from that perspective, she's a decent bonus. And if, I guess, the decks don't get figured out, season pass cards have traditionally gotten buffed a little faster than some of the others. They tend to have that plot armor from nerfs, but tend to get buffed a little faster. We saw it with Gilgamesh after almost a week and a half. So anyways, those are my thoughts. We don't have any gameplay today. I did do a very long Twitch stream, so I can link the VOD down below if you're interested in kind of seeing that live in action. But I am away on vacation with the family here for this week, so I wanted to just give you a quick update on those two cards. And next week, we'll obviously get back to the regular scheduled programming with gameplay and all that. But guys, I love you guys. I appreciate all of you. I hope you guys had fun on this little adventure that I have here going here, just talking about Marvel Snap, fishing, and everything else I love in life. Appreciate every one of you, and we'll see you on that next one.